Sometimes I wonder why some models feel offended when we don't use them. It's like they take it to heart, like
And my first no, it was heartbreaking. It was heavy. It was heavy on me.
Sometimes I try to wonder, what is it that they're experiencing on the runway? Is it like cocaine or something that when you take...
For me, I float. For people, you see me walk, but it's like I'm gliding down.
I think agencies in Ghana are the worst.
They're shielding them from...
They're shielding them because of their personal issues. And most of the models that we use on the runway don't even have a decent editorial portfolio.
Say Ghanaian models are more friendly when it comes to competition.
And they're not free jobs, they're paid jobs. But you are doing it for free.
You have to, work hard to build more muscle, not to look buff, but to have enough edges. You have to try.
And the UK and the Paris and the New York people, they don't respect you if you haven't got any respect in your homeland.
In South Sudan, group the market with their skin. Because when you look at them pitch black, you're either dark skin or very light.
Your agent or your mother agent will still get their 20% cut, despite the fact that you are covering the debt. Models that are desperate from Nigeria to Ghana, people in the industry, we know how they're messing with you African models.
All right, good day, guys. Welcome to the first edition of the Fashion Talk Show. We're here with a special guest. We're here with a model by the name of Agbosu. I've worked with this brother ever since he started. He's been on his journey through the fashion industry for quite a while, up till now. And so we're going to get into a few discussions where we're going to have him involved and most of all, find out what his experience has been like within the fashion industry. We're going to talk about some of the trending topics today and what some of the models are going through. But before we do, I want everyone to know that this show is sponsored by Fashion Ghana Shop. Make sure you visit the website and the Instagram page to look for something that can make you look beautiful and African. We've got everything from t-shirts to clothes, to necklaces, to jewelry. Check it out. So let's get into it. Agbosu.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Agbosu Bernard, as my big brother mentioned. I'm a model based in Ghana, and so far, it's been great here.
Yeah? So tell us, what has your journey been like as a model in this industry?
It always starts with people telling you, hey, you look good, you should model. Hey, you have the physique, you have the characteristics, you have all it takes. And then you step into a whole new world and discover something different. Yeah, it was beautiful. It started with speed, and, as it goes on, it starts to get slower, and then you tend to catch your pace and you find your niche, you find your style, and then you grow.
So was it mainly girls, who were telling you, hey, you're handsome, you should be a model? Or was it like professional scalp? What were those compliments coming from?
It came from fashion designers I worked with.
So usually you take your clothes to the design and be like, oh, I want you to sell them, like, hey, you should model.
So you should do runway, you should do this, you should do that. So it came from professionals and also other models. So like, hey, you make actually a great competition in this show, maybe this pageantry, so maybe you should go and do this and do that. So I did my research, and then
I heard of Accra Fashion Week. I was like, hey, these guys are big. Yeah, so I did my research and I was like, okay, there are castings here and here. And then after that, I found out some other castings that were happening before that of Accra Fashion Week. And then I attended those ones as well.
And my first no, it was heartbreaking. It was heavy. It was heavy on me.
Yeah, share with us.
Heavy on me.
That was a Rhythms on the Runway casting.
I think the African Regent Hotel. So went in, and in less than 200 models pulled up. It was amazing. So many these people in one place. It was a bit intimidating.
But then you catch your pace once, you talk to a few people and then you get your niche up, and then, yeah, it was amazing.
But at that moment, what do you think was behind the no? Do you think you didn't have the experience?
No, because the work was good. The Kusala was nervous, but the work was good. I think it was
recognition. They did not recognize me there. So
more like a family.
Yeah, familiar face. Maybe there's someone that has done something before, maybe you've done the work before, maybe you've done this, you've done that. Or you have recognition. I'd say, yeah, they did not recognize me there because I was a new guy, I'm not being anywhere. And I'm like, okay, then it was in the casting directors were very often. Yes.
So wait, so let me ask you, so what do you feel, what do you think about that? So you're a new guy, but you felt you had the look, you felt you had the walk. Is this something that happens very common? As in, if someone is new, unless they have connections or they have recognition, they're going to be rejected. Is that very common within the fashion industry, or do you think it's just one or two?
Okay, it's not common everywhere, because I know I've been to other castings. I've seen casting directors that are always looking for something new, something fresh. And then I've been to castings where they're not looking for new, fresh. They're looking for working models. They're looking for who has experience in the industry. So it's more like they were looking for experienced models than they were looking for new faces on that particular casting. So they obviously took those who were already in the industry over the new faces there.
Right. So when did you get the big break? When did you get something that to say, okay, this is what set me on my path to being a top Ghanaian male model?
I was very low after the no, because the no did not come just immediately. It came with 2 judges saying, I like you. 1 judge said, hey, I don't like it. So we were like, you know what, go and come back with the next part. So go and come with the next part. And I took about 3 or 4 hours before they finally said, you know what, I think we got all we need, and thank you for coming.
So I left with a heavy neck.
And then I met a few models. I met Michael Pupra. He told me, hey, don't worry, don't take it too deep. This is how the industry is. You hear no's, you hear yeses. So, you know, we'll talk, and then I'll give an update on the next casting. And he was like, hey, this is a reminder. Accra Fashion. I'm like, yeah, I did my research on them. Like, yeah, should show up at Cloud9, yeah. So I showed up, and when I showed up, I was also very confident.
I saw models with blue eyes.
Blue eyes in Ghana.
Contact lenses.
Well, I did not really know contact lenses back then, but I saw models with different colors of eyes with them. Hey, all these people here. I'm like, me, I'm coming with just
My normal look, Charlie.
oh, me hard, you know. Yeah, so
I was intimidated then.
I was tense. I was sweating. My arms were sweaty, but then I walked, and then I was interviewed by the casting director. You were there. You asked a few questions, and then the other judges asked a few questions. They're like, okay, take your measurements and we'll be in touch. I was like, yeah, we'll be in touch. I've heard we'll be in touch from people who never contacted me. So I also left here. I was like, you know, maybe this is what it's going to be. I'm going to hear a lot of notes, and that's what it will be. So I came back home, not expecting the phone call, and then, hi, you've been selected for that Fashion Week.
Well, you know, that's enough.
I stood up, I danced, I just was like, okay, they are sure that they will call you, and then you end up working eventually. So just anticipate and do your best. So I went back to my workout routine, watch my diet, a few things I don't eat, do 1 or 2 things to make sure you're in shape. And then I just did that, and then we went for the first fitting. I was like, oh wow. So this is what it feels like to be glorified. This is what it feels like to be elevated. You know, the aura from me was strong, because then I felt myself in
a room or at a level where I'd never been before. Models really get a lot of, elevation when they go for fittings. There are some outfits you put on, like, hey.
I'm not just representing a culture. I'm representing an entire race, an entire generation, an entire country. It's a whole lot. So it's powerful. It's powerful.
So you think that's what models get for modeling, and why it's so addictive? The fact that you are representing somebody's beautiful clothes, and then you're walking down the runway and everyone is looking at you, snapping pictures. Do you think that's an addictive feeling?
Yes, it is addictive, because
once you get into the spotlight, you never want to leave.
The moment, and it's a very short moment too. It's not a very long moment. All the preparations, backstage, everything, and all the way to
the runway. Once you hit the runway, it's just about a few seconds.
Right. Because me as a casting director, or someone who does events, sometimes I wonder why some models feel offended when we don't use them. It's like they take it to heart, like I've literally snatched their lifestyle away from them, because it's like, me, I just see it as, okay, you're not going to get that 400, 500, 700 cities. But sometimes the reaction seems like I've snatched their soul from their bodies, the way they're so passionate. Some of them just even want to walk for free, and we're like, no, you're not what we're looking for. And sometimes I try to wonder, what is it that they're experiencing on the runway? Is it like this kind of ego boost, or this kind of like cocaine or something that when you take, you feel Like, what is that feeling when you're walking down the runway, pictures are snapping, people, sometimes if you do an interesting walk, then people are clapping for you. What is that? Tell us about that feeling.
For me, I float when I'm on the runway. It's not like I'm walking. For people, you see me walk, but it's like I'm gliding down in, it's like, I don't know, it's a feeling of high power, supremacy, and you're above everything else. Right in that moment, in those few seconds on the runway,
You're above everyone else. Even celebrities in the audience are looking up to you. That is and the stage is elevated.
everyone looks up to you, and
You don't have, and I don't know how to. It's not something you can. Exactly, it's magical feeling, and
it's when you're up there, you're above the world, you're above everyone else, and everyone is looking up to you, and you look.
it's like you walk over everyone.
Well, but I think, to me, I think that's where a lot of models in this industry are getting it wrong. And not in its totality, but I feel a lot of models are more looking for that dopamine, is that the word? That high, as opposed to seeing it as a job. I have models who sometimes they'll do some of the shows that I'm involved in, and they might do something more popular. And once they do something more popular, it's like now they're saying no to these other shows that. And if you look at it from a occupation or a job perspective, you're going to be doing as many shows as you can to get as much payment as you can. But once you do a show and you think, oh, because I did this show and this show is bigger than that show, I'm not going to do that show anymore, then you're treating your career like a pageant. And then after a while, you reach a stage where you are so shy to go to an event because you now feel like,
I want everyone to see me on a particular level. But you need to remember it's a job. If you get, and I know 500 might be small in some cases, but if you get 500, about 500 shows a month,
it's better than doing 1-800 show a month just to keep a particular reputation. And then that way you can build a living. And I think because models are caught up in this dopamine, this opium feeling when they get on the runway and I'm at this, that, and I want to show people that I'm a top level model, they then sacrifice the growth of their careers. And then you have this kind of pretend top model where you're not really doing anything, but you come out once a year to do that one show and then let people know that I'm the top model because I did that one show. And I feel like that is where Ghana loses its top models.
That's true. Totally agree. It's more like they don't have a structure. This is why it is better to be in an agency, because a few agencies, not all, but a few agencies have a structure. So they put you in their structure. You end up going for certain shows and doing most of the shows. But some agencies also will tell their models, don't go for this show, don't go for that show, go for this show, go for that show.
and let's get into these agencies.
A lot of local agencies are not helping, because where they would go to learn, you're taking them away from that and putting them on spotlights where you think, okay, this is more famous, this has more reputation, this has more recognition. A lot of celebrities are on this show, so I want you here. And I don't see a lot of celebrities here, so I don't want you there. It's not an industry for celebrities, it's an industry for creatives to, grow and evolve. And if you don't work with the most talented creatives who may not be associated with celebrities, you will miss out on chances to become one of the most recognized, influential fashion people in the world. Yeah.
And when it comes to agencies, I think agencies in Ghana are the worst. I think 99, okay, let me be generous, 95, no, let's say 97% of agencies in Ghana don't know what they're doing. First and foremost, let's just get rid of the trashy 80%, that we know they're wasting models' times. They just take money, train you how to walk, get you in some nonsense photography. Let's move those agencies out the way. Let's talk about the agencies that maybe have a little bit of a clue what they're doing. You've got the first set of agencies that their only objective is to send models abroad. They think that the models they have scouted are too good to do anything in Ghana unless there's a white man involved. They shield these models and they send them abroad. No problem. There's a big fault there. We'll come back to that. Then you have the agencies that they also sort of know what they're doing, but they're treating the industry with their personal disputes and banters. I'll give you an example. I have a couple agencies whose models have never come to shows that I'm involved in because they see me as somewhat of a competitor. So you sign a model and you ruin that model's career and that model's potential just because of your personal beef with somebody. And the model doesn't know because she's naive. So the model, you tell the model, don't go on this show. The model has no idea why. The model thinks you're an intelligent father figure or mother figure to them, and so they take their advice not to go. Meanwhile, modeling your lifespan of your career is almost like 6 years. Nobody is going to use you when you reach 29 years old. So you're making all these mistakes because of someone's personal issues, right? Then you have the other modeling agencies, which we all know sexual exploitation and those things come in. Hey, I won't give you the job if you don't do this. I'll give it to another model, that sort of thing. So this to me is the characteristics of even the decent agencies, you know. And I think all of them are totally horrible. Sexual exploitation, that one, we know it's there. Then the one where the people are doing their personal. There was even one agency that we actually found the model through a social media platform. And so we invited her, you know, and she worked well and we put her on the show. And we're like, why didn't your agent tell you about this? She was like, oh, she told me not to go. Like, why? I don't know. No problem. After the show was done, I was like, hey, look, there's nothing on your Instagram page. You might as well share some of the pictures. And she was like, oh, my agent told me not.
They're shielding them from.
They're shielding them because of their personal issues. And this is something that is relevant to. So you'll be surprised how many models' careers have been limited. And even when I was doing an agency, and at the time I started Accra Fashion Week, there was a major event that was competing with me. But I will tell all my models to go there because my effort is independent of your success. Do you know what I mean? So I think agencies in Ghana are the worst. Sometimes I see some of these fashion models, I want to advise them, hey, look, you guys better get on an agency because you're going to be making mistakes that agents can stop you from making. And then I think, let me not give them that. No, you're okay. You know, and so it's really horrible. And I don't even know what the way forward is because you have so many models coming in the industry. They're independent, which I understand, but then they're making mistakes that they won't. You know, most of the models that we use on the runway don't even have a decent editorial portfolio. Like sometimes we want to do articles on them. We want to feature them. And then we go to their Instagram and the few photo shoots they have are just really lame. And so I personally, you know, I don't even know. I don't know. Do you join agency? And then you have these agencies that say, oh, you're not going to do anything in Ghana until we send you to UK. And the UK and the Paris and the New York people, they don't respect you if you haven't got any respect in your homeland. So then you go there and then you go and do these free jobs, these little jobs. And they're not free jobs. They're paid jobs. But you are doing it for free. And you're coming back to Ghana and walking around like, yeah. No, the people in the industry know what you're doing. Maybe a lot of people in Ghana don't know. But people like me, we know what you're doing. We know you're going there and you're just... And then here's the worst part about the models that go abroad. Because when I was in UK, I had a boutique agency. And we used to place our models on international agencies. Here's how international agencies work. The moment you get there, they need to build your portfolio because most of the stuff you've done before is not worth there. When they build your portfolio, we're talking about £1,000, 2,000 photo shoots. When they're sending you to castings, they're telling you what clothes to wear and they're giving you the clothes. They are charging you for those clothes. They are not paying it up front. The photo shoots, the training, even the calls, they have administration fees. So when they call you to say, how are you doing? I want to give you some, they're charging you for those calls. So you have this big bill of debt and you're not going to start getting jobs like till about 1 year later. So before you even get those jobs, you have this big bill of debt.
About £50,000 to pay.
Then you start doing the jobs. Guess what happens when you are just about to cover the debt as an African model? They're now using the next model from Angola. They're now using the next model from Nigeria. So all these African models that are desperate from Nigeria to Ghana, people in the industry, we know how they're messing with you African models. Wow. We know how they're messing. And then you come here and flex like, and so it's like a lot of models, their peak is to go abroad. And the agents are desperate to get you abroad. But there's a reality that is not. And you know what? When you do the job, your agent or your mother agent will still get their 20% cut, despite the fact that you are covering the debt. So the agents are still making money, but you are still covering the debt. And then once it's now time for them to start paying you and you making a profit, then there's another desperate guy from Jamaica. There's another desperate girl from Barbados. There's another desperate model from Nigeria. There's another desperate model from South Africa. So it's like this cycle of recycling African models with no benefit. And so that's why you see that ever since when we talk about black models in general, you can only name like 4 supermodels in one hand. Most of them are covering debt or kind of expired and just have some little popularity and maneuvering. So when you look at the agencies in Ghana, I just sit back and I'm like, I just watch from afar.
The few agencies that I wanted, obviously after a few research and after a few conversations with them, I realized they have preference. They have a market value. And my look doesn't fit that market value. So there's no way they're going to be able, they won't be able to sell me as quickly as other models. So they will definitely say, you know what, I think we're good. Thank you for applying, but you don't fit our market value. So with those few agencies, I'm like, okay, then if I don't fit the market value, then what's the way forward for me? So the skin preference is also there. For most international models, you're either dark skin or very light. Anywhere in between, you struggle to sell. So it's either you're very light,
clear skin, or very dark, where even scars cannot be seen. Mm-hmm. They are the ones that sell the most.
My dark or darker?
Your dark would, okay. Your dark is okay. But they're looking for a shade darker. And South Sudan grew the market with their skin. Because when you look at them, pitch black.
But some girls in Labadi and some boys in Labadi Beach.
Yes, yeah, exactly. They're all pitch black. So and when you go for castings, even in Ghana, when you go for castings, when they're selecting models, I'm carefully watching. I know the darker skinned boys are going to get selected before me. Even though I may be better than them physically or maybe with the heights, they'll pick them over you because one, their appearance is striking enough to sell easily. So they'll pick them over you. So models with brown skin or maybe in between the dark and light brown and dark, they have to do more. You have to look extra. You have to, work out, build more muscles, not to look buff, but to have enough edges. You have to try and harder to look, hotter than, you have to do exactly to work twice as hard to meet the space that the average dark skin model is. So it's also a bit competitive. But let's just say Ghanaian models are more friendly when it comes to competition. You don't get a lot of, direct competition from Ghanaian models. They're more welcoming to new models. They'll teach you a few things here and there. They'll see you make mistakes and correct you. You don't go for the castings, unlike others elsewhere where you'd have to learn from experiences, from those and being shut down a couple of times. Ghanaian models tell you, hey, he wearing jewelry, you shouldn't wear that for casting. It's not good. Elsewhere, they'll just watch you do it.
Right.
Once you get rejected, you'll learn it. You'll learn from that because you might tell someone, "Hey, take that jewelry off," and they get certain. This later. That's the mindset most people are working with. But the average Ghanaian model is not like that.
FashionGHANA.com.
TV.
I came to slave, dude.
100%
African.
Fashion, 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 fashion.